ended up at a 37 all tie. I thought, defensively they took some shots that we were kind of, hoping they would take, and credit to them, they made them. Had guys that don't normally play a ton of minutes or score a ton of points that stepped up and hit big shots and big moments in the first half. And we thought we played pretty well in the first half. Second half we didn't. The wheels kind of fell off a little bit, and we had 13 points at one point in the second half until I think Jamal hit a three to kind of break the drought a little bit. But credit to Southern New Hampshire. They're a very well coached team. They have good players, and they answered the bell and stepped up big time in the second half. And every time we made a run in the second half or a mini run, they always had an answer. And we were trying to build on that and hopefully string something together. And with the press, you're trying to get a 6 to 8-0 run at some point, and every time we would get to 6, they'd come back and they hit a 3 or they'd get a tip in. They didn't have a ton of offensive rebounds, but they seemed to get a big bucket when they needed to.
Coach, you were getting a ton of offensive rebounds early, some good second chance opportunities in that first half. Felt like in the second half, some of that dried up for you a little bit on the offensive end. Was that just more of they were doing a better job sort of limiting you to one shot, or was it just, the bounces weren't going your way?
I said all year long, when you get in a game that's an NCAA tournament caliber game, like, you've got to do your job 100% of the time. You've got to crash. We have crashers and get back guys. If you're a crasher, you've got to crash 100% of the time to get 2 or 3. I don't think we did that. I think we got a little bit spread and not as together as we probably should have been in the second half. We had some mental lapses with guys that needed to crash. We had some mental lapses defensively with guys that needed to box out, and some of the scouting report things that we were doing, and just too many mistakes for us mentally in the second half to survive the kind of offensive output that they had.
Antonio, that press in the first half you guys were throwing was working so perfectly, and then they adjusted at halftime. When you're on the court, what were you noticing was different as the press didn't seem as effective in the second half?
I think it's just the intensity of the press. It's just like us being there, being at the right spots, and everything like that. I just think that once they got that run, the intensity kind of died down a little bit when we needed to pick back up.
Devante, you were all over the floor. I imagine you must be exhausted after a game like that. Felt like they did a pretty good job of trying to close off your driving lanes, collecting that help back into the paint and not allowing you to really effectively distribute. Do you feel like they were sort of crowding you out a little bit of the middle of the floor?
Being like a attack first guard, you see different looks all the time. It's harder when second half our offense was pretty stagnant. Wasn't able to move the ball well. We wasn't cutting well, and we're like a really good cutting team. So when everything's stagnant, it's kind of hard to get downhill. Like you said, credit to them, they played well defensively in the second half. But yeah.
Coach, James obviously in foul trouble, kind of up and down throughout the game. How tough was it? Just when you're in foul trouble like that, obviously there's a calculus in terms of when you roll the dice and when you sort of keep him on the bench. But that also doesn't sort of allow him to kind of get into a rhythm out on the floor. Do you feel like that just sort of affected his game and affected the team?
I'm sure there's definitely a part of it. And then Rich Smith was out for the game. He had an injury in the first half, so we just got everybody back. We've been injury prone all year. We've practiced. Almost every week we've had less than 10 players in practice, and this is not like a sob story, but it's forced us to be resilient and get creative with what we're trying to do. And it's like we finally took a deep breath, a sigh of relief. We get everybody back, and then the next thing you know, James is in foul trouble, Rich is hurt, and then we're back down to 10 guys, and we really only played eight of those 10 at the time. So. We've been pretty good at adjusting to things all year long. It's been a very resilient team. I think for the vast majority of the first half of the season, we were down double digits in almost every game, and we came back and won most of them. We just, I thought we emptied the tank. We didn't have enough today to pull this one out. They're a really good team. They didn't win the NE10 by accident. To win a game today, like today in the NCAA tournament, like you have to play well, and you've got to do the things that you're trying to do better than the things that they're trying to do.
Matt, this year, if you just put the whole season in one capsule, you lost a lot of players. Half your roster is freshmen. You had the injuries, as you spoke about, yet here you are in the NCAA tournament, 26 wins, another league title. Your thoughts on the whole arc of the season?
Well, I don't think anybody would have picked us here early on. Definitely a lot of new faces, a lot of new roles. I mean, everyone in the program had a new role, but I mean, we've got tough kids. We've got pretty resilient kids that are pretty competitive, and I mean, I knew we would be good, and I tell people this all the time. I couldn't have predicted, 26-5 or exactly what the record was going to be, but I had a feeling that we were going to be competing for a spot in this weekend, and I couldn't ask for a better couple guys, and Jamal Barnes. There were 3 captains that they just did a tremendous job. I asked a lot of them. I leaned pretty hard on these guys to make sure that the locker room was ready to go and the guys were ready to go, and they stepped up big time. It's not roles that they were used to. Kind of took a back seat in a leadership role the last couple of years with the previous personnel. But Tone's been tremendous. I mean, we went from a guy that was just, we were just talking about this. He was all catch and shoot. He told one of my assistants, I just catch and shoot the open ones, and we're like, no, man, you're gonna have to make some plays this year, and he's completely changed his game. And become a better player for it. And I want to thank him for all he's done for the program.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good season.